to lie, won't stop to lie, can't stop to lie, won't stop to lie, can't stop to lie, won't stop to lie, ain't no Chico.
Welcome y'all to another episode of TechDontSleep Podcast. It's your boy Bill McCluskey once again in the building, and we have the power couple of all power couples in this room, in the hot seat on the hot sofa. Ladies and gentlemen, Isaac Addae and Lakisha Simmons. Thank y'all for joining us.
Thank you for having
Appreciate
us.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. If you don't know, now you know. I mean, this is a couple that I really look up to because they're doing amazing things individually. And I love their synergy and how they integrate their life and show us, how they're progressing in their careers together and in their businesses together. So we're going to talk about that. And of course, how you guys integrate technology and make things work. So how y'all doing? Y'all good?
Good.
First, I got to talk about why y'all got black on. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
I'm curious.
we represent, man. Black business, black entrepreneurs,
Black Lives
Lives
Matter.
Matter. Yeah.
Black
yeah.
women.
Yeah.
Black owned, everything.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Sure.
It reminds me of Mr. Y'all remember that movie, Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
Yeah. We watched
one
that
of our
movie.
favorite movies. Yes. That's us. That's our alter egos. Right
Angelina
there.
Jolie.
Yeah. Brad Pitt, right?
Brad Pitt, yep.
Yeah. So y'all making it happen.
But we don't be fighting and stuff like that.
No.
Okay.
We don't get down
Not
like
each
that.
other.
Nah.
No, we don't. No.
Nah, we won't, they got down in that film.
They did.
We don't get down like that.
Yeah. So listen, you guys are recently married, right? Like how long ago did y'all get
It's
married?
been a year
About
last fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yep.
about a year and a half or so.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I gotta ask y'all some personal questions before we
All right.
jump in.
Go for it.
No,
Open
no,
book.
and the reason I'm doing this is because I think it's important. On another episode, we did have a couple who owns an IT company here in Middle Tennessee, and we brought out some cool insight about how they work together in their business, how they work individually, and how that benefits the growth of their company and just the health of their relationship. So I kind of want to dive into that. But how did y'all meet?
You want to tell a story? You want me to
I'll
tell it?
let you tell it.
You let me
I'll
tell
let
it.
you tell it.
See, what had happened was...
But if you have time, because he's going to give you all
No. All right,
Okay,
I'll
you
keep it
start
brief.
us off and you clean it up.
I'll keep it brief. I'm a young, fly, dapper brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was at this conference and, she looked across the room and was like, dang, I got to make sure I cross paths with her. No. That's not how it went. All right, long story short, she was on the panel at this conference in 2009 called the PhD Project.
Okay.
And I was in the audience. She was in her doctoral program, and I was looking to start. I flipped through the booklet, saw that she went to Tennessee State. And I was like, I got to check her TSU card because I ain't see her on the yard.
Yeah.
What's up? And so at the end of the session, I think I caught her in the hall, and I was like, did you go to TSU? Yep. Talked 2 minutes. She wasn't interested in nothing I had to say.
No.
And then that was it. We just talked. So November 2009, we talked for 2 minutes, and then we crossed paths again in 2016.
Wow.
She came to my conscious convo that I did on the digital divide on tech.
Yeah.
That's when I had an app. You remember my app, Homework Suite?
I do remember
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So-
And so she had been hitting me up on LinkedIn about getting my students to use her app. And I was like, hey, I'm doing this panel. You should come. So she came. I hadn't seen her in 7 years.
Yeah.
And that was kind of when we reconnected. But we
Just
met.
as friends.
Yeah,
We were
as
just
friends,
friends,
obviously.
so.
Yeah, so do you remember the encounter in the hallway in 2009?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have anything to say.
She had nothing
I
to
was
say.
Just like,
Could have missed a blessing. Just could have missed it.
Oh, no. Hey, listen. I mean, hindsight is 2020. It's okay.
Everything happens the way it's supposed to happen, but I'm glad. I'm glad that I approached her.
Yeah,
For sure. Because
definitely.
that was like a
It's
touch
planting the
point.
seed.
Planted the seed.
Yeah,
for
because
sure.
you felt comfortable enough to reach out on LinkedIn, at least, and say,
well, hey, I learned from the best. You have to prospect.
there you go.
And so
Come on.
I needed, hey, I'm DMing.
There you
and
go.
even though you told me to stop doing that.
Did I tell you to stop doing that?
Lakisha, stop with all the DMing. There's other ways to prospect. And I'm like, no, the DM, because people check the DMs on LinkedIn. I mean, they check those.
Yeah.
So he did, and so that's how we reconnected again, just as friends. And it wasn't until 2017 when we both
Summer
were going through life.
2017.
Yeah, summer 2017, we both were going through life changes at the same time, and we kind of at that point had, he was trying to pursue me. obviously.
Yeah, obvious.
And,
Now here's where the story gets interesting. Right? So the truth of the matter is we were both going through a divorce. We were both college professors in business, and we both had children.
Okay.
And so we
Same
just
ages.
became a support system for one another, because I didn't know anybody else that was in that same dynamic that I could talk to about what I was going through, and she didn't either. And I think that's how we bonded as friends.
As friends,
Okay.
literally
we
as
definitely
friends.
bonded as friends.
We call each other our best friend because we can talk for hours.
Yeah.
Hours and hours and hours. Yeah.
No, that's beautiful, man. I love that story about how the seeds were planted and how you guys initially became friends first.
For sure.
Yeah.
So let me just say this. Anybody out there, like, don't be afraid to make a connection with a person, because you never know what's going to come out of that.
Absolutely.
And I think when I was a lot younger, I was really aggressive about crossing paths with somebody and making a touch point, even if I didn't know where it was going to go. And I don't know that we ever connect if I never say anything to her at that conference at 09. You get what I'm saying? And not in this way. So shoot your shot.
Shoot your shot. And that's true personally and in business.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm with you, man. I love creating and starting relationships without any agenda, because I've seen it happen like over the course of years in my business, where it comes back around a year, 2, 5 years later, and hey, we met here, we met there, we had a brief conversation, and then an opportunity arises, and the energy was good, and like, oh yeah, we got to connect again and make something happen. So,
For sure.
It literally is sowing a seed, because I have people who have been following me for years and who are just now becoming a client. But they've been on my list. They've attended my seminars, my free classes, my speaking engagements. They've been there all along, and they feel like they know me now. And it's like, okay, now I want to be one of your clients. Right? So plant that seed, get to know people. And a lot of times it's seriously just making a connection. How can I help you? How can you help me? Or just building rapport, just getting to know people is really important.
I definitely echo what Keisha's saying. I think a lot of times we connect with people because we're trying to meet some kind of agenda, right? It's a means to an end. And really, it should just be about organic interaction. It shouldn't always be agenda driven. I don't think we have enough of that.
And I was telling somebody the other day, I think one of my gifts is starting and nurturing relationships. And it's because I'm genuinely interested in people. Right? I could go to an event or a networking event, I'm talking to people, and I'm like, man, how'd you get that name? Or even I just asked you, what's his middle name and all that. And I'm genuinely interested with no agenda. And I think that energy comes across. So, if we have that state of mind, it can be really helpful and fruitful for us going forward. So with you guys, I want to kind of jump into the business arena with both of you, because you both are entrepreneurs and you both are, in my eyes, really influential, right? And successful. And you guys already mentioned you were both professors. And so Keisha, you were a professor at Belmont University, and Isaac, you were a professor at Tennessee State University. And first of all, I mean that's almost pinnacle to me. But you both have PhDs, right? And now you're both entrepreneurs making things happen. So I want to start with you, Keisha, and I want to talk about your business. Then we'll come to you, talk about your business, and then we'll kind of bring everything together.
Go for it.
So Keisha, let's talk about your company. You mentioned you had the app, okay? And when you were a professor at Belmont, but let's talk about how you started your business, where you are today, because I just see you all over the news and stuff now. You know what I'm saying? You're on like CNBC or Fox News and all this stuff. So People Magazine. So let's talk about your journey, why you started and what you're actually doing.
Yes. So I am a big believer in letting God lead you. And that is truly how my life has unfolded. So I have taken steps to think, okay, well, maybe math is my thing. And so I have a PhD in analytics, right? And so I became a professor because I wanted this flexibility. I wanted a location independent lifestyle. I wanted summers off, and I just wanted that flexible lifestyle. Well, that all worked out great until it didn't. And until I found that, I'm really stressed. I work a lot of hours. I had over 40 research publications, peer reviewed, and the service commitment and teaching thousands of students a semester. And it was really draining. There's a lot of responsibility being a professor. And while I loved it, and the pay was okay, okay, you're not gonna, well, I guess you can be a millionaire being a professor.
Hey!
But you know, it's not what you think in terms of salary.
How long were you up there? Like at
10
Belmont?
years. I was at Belmont for 9 years.
Okay.
I was a professor for 10 years and I achieved tenure. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, but what I realized after my divorce is that even though I had a stable income and I had a job, I knew that there was just more to life. And I wanted to explore more of life. I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to take my children around the world, right? I wanted to just, I've had a nonprofit. I wanted to help women. That's always been something I was passionate about. And in that career, even as flexible as it was, it didn't give me the opportunity to just do whatever I wanted to do when I wanted to do it.
Wow.
And that's just the fact of the matter. And so in 2020, when the pandemic hit, so many of us were, again, working from home. But as parents, we were homeschooling our 3 children.
Yeah.
And it was stressful for everyone involved.
Yeah.
And that's when I really realized that, man, I'm not working out. I'm not eating right. I can't travel because it's a pandemic. I'm about to lose my mind here. And just all the stress really made me ill, physically ill. And I realized at that point that I couldn't continue on in the way that I was because, of course, I do have a book, The Unlikely Achiever, and coaching women, which I've always done, mentoring women, running a nonprofit, being a professor, the children, cooking, cleaning, all the things, being a wife.
Hey,
don't forget that one. Wifely duties, right?
I mean, you signed up for it.
Right. So all of that was just too much stress. And luckily, after my divorce, I had really made a commitment to myself that I would never be financially insecure again because the divorce is really taxing monetarily.
Sure. Yep.
And at the time of the divorce, I had $5,000 cash
Now,
in
when
my
did you
bank
get divorced?
account, 2017.
Wow. Okay.
And then I had about $125,000 in investments in my 401k.
Okay.
In my 401k. And I realized now being divorced, I had this one income, I had these 2 children, I had this big house in Brentwood, and I was living paycheck to paycheck.
Wow.
And I said,
and on the outside looking in, they're like, okay, she's got a great job.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly, professor. You know, all the accolades, all the awards that you can imagine. I have them all, and I was living paycheck to paycheck. And so I started something called Fire Journey, Financial Independence, Retire Early, and it completely changed my mindset around money because it says that instead of spending 90% of what you bring in and saving only 10%. Instead, let's flip that and try to invest more than you spend.
You know, where did this come from now? Like, what? I mean, so you flipped it and you want to save 90 and spend 10?
I was saving and investing 60% of my income.
So you were like, just as much as I can.
As much as I could. And he had no clue. So we started dating. He didn't know. He just saw the big house in Brentwood, which I eventually sold. I sold pretty quickly after the divorce because it was sucking the most money.
Yeah, that mortgage.
The mortgage, it was $24.10 a month, just the mortgage. And so, long story short, I stopped spending as much, started investing more. Maxing out my 401k, maxing out my 457, maxing out my Roth IRA, and then opened an investment account and started doing my own stock trading. And of course, that didn't happen overnight. I did a little at a time until I reached that 60%. But before I knew it, 4 years later, in 2021, when I was going through all this stress with the pandemic and everything, I looked around and I had $750,000 in 4 years.
Wow.
And so when I was going through...
So can I say something right quick?
Yes.
And I love this conversation because I think that we should be more open about talking about money. Because sometimes when I talk about money with people and I tell people like my numbers for my company and stuff like, they're like, man, you be sharing. I'm like, why are we so scared to talk about money? So I appreciate that. But I have a question for you. Because some people would say, well, easy for you because you had a good job. Yeah. So how much were you making at Belmont or as a professor?
So my average salary from the time I graduated college to the time I retired was $77,000.
Okay.
Over my career.
Over the 10-year period.
Over
from when you graduated.
From when I graduated.
Okay.
I want to say that because I did not start until 2017.
Right. Yeah.
But I graduated in 2002. So I want everybody to know that all those years I was putting away nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2017.
But you did have 125.
Well, I had 125, but I had 125 when I started.
Mm-hmm.
But I was 37 years old.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And that, if anybody out there is listening, if you look at the numbers and you're going to retire at 60 and you're 37, that's only 23 years and all you got is 125. You got a lot of ground to make up. So my point is, I started at 37 and I was making right around 100,000 a year. But the point is, it doesn't matter how much you make. It matters how much you save.
Wow.
And I don't
invest.
And when I say save, I mean invest. Because I know people who make $200,000 a year and they are spending 90% of it. They have a nice house, they have a nice car, they're taking lavish trips, they have all the bags, they have all the clothes, they eating in the nice restaurants every night. They're just spending money on things they don't even know they're spending it on. So when I hear people say, "Oh, because you have a great salary," that's an excuse.
Yeah.
And I do not do excuses.
Yeah, I love
Period.
it. Woo.
I do not do excuses. It does not matter if you're making 50,000, 60,000, 70,000. I was making 100,000. I could have kept living in the house in Brentwood. I didn't. I sold the house and I moved into a tiny 2-bedroom apartment and cut $1,000 off my living expense, and that $1,000 went right into the stock market. Period. So it's about shifting your mindset and saying what you want to have instead of saying, "Oh, this person because XYZ." No.
Yeah.
This is available to each and every one of us in this room.
Yeah.
The stock market is open for business for everyone.
But you had the value that you got value from investing, saving and investing versus value in the things like the house and the trips or whatever. Because I think that's the issue. People, they say, well, making this money, let me enjoy it. And your enjoyment actually came from, let me invest.
My enjoyment,
Is that right?
My enjoyment came from, number one, sitting down, and I did this after my divorce, and determining what do I value.
Okay.
And what I determined that I valued was traveling and spending quality time with my children. I wrote a list of everything that I love to do. I love going to zoos. If I go to a different state, I'm going to the zoo. I bought a membership that I can go to any zoo in the country, and I pretty much go for free.
Wow.
Based on that membership.
Yeah.
So when you sit down and you look about what is it that you really value, then you can spend your money on that, and it makes it easier to cut other expenses.
Yeah.
So that was what I did. So I cut my mobile phone bill. I've got him on the board. So we moved to prepaid plan. I moved to a prepaid plan. He moved to a prepaid plan. And so I went from spending $100 a month on my mobile phone bill to $180 for the year on my mobile phone bill.
Wait, hold on. What?
Yep, you heard me right. Exactly. I went and looked at every expense. It started with the mortgage, and I cut it. Okay, I can cut my mobile phone. I can cut my car insurance. I can cut my grocery bill by a third.
Oh, yeah.
I figured out how to do that. So
eating out and all this stuff, yeah.
I'm a gourmet chef. He will tell you. Am I not?
Hey, what's he gonna say?
A gourmet. Well, no. Yeah, he knows friends, but I learned how to cook and make restaurant quality meals at home for a third of the price.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that much better with.
I love that though. You sat down and you said, "What do I value?" So that now you know what to say yes to and what to say no to, and it's easier because you're clear on your values.
Yep.
So now you are a coach and a teacher. You're a professor, but you're not at a university. Right. You're creating. You have your own brand. So tell us about that brand and the courses that you're teaching. What's going on?
For sure. The Wealthy Achiever program is a program that I custom created. I have a PhD in analytics, so I know numbers. And I have made it so easy to analyze your budget, to analyze what you're investing in your 401k at work, as well as getting you started investing in the stock market in a very easy way, easy to understand the terminology. You're not reading charts. You're not confused with terminology you don't know, but it gives you the opportunity to create your own financial plan, and you're not dependent on a financial advisor to tell you. You can sit down and create it, and we actually create it together through the Wealthy Achiever program. It's a 4-week group coaching program, and women are seeing fantastic results. They're tripling their investing rate in 4 weeks. They're cutting their budget expenses by average of $300 in the 4 weeks. And that's just the 4 weeks that we work together. And then, of course, you have lifetime access to the material and me as your mentor.
That's awesome.
So it's really helping.
And it's just for women?
It's not. Men too.
No, I mean,
there are a few brave men.
Unlikely achieve her.
There are a few brave men that are in the group with us, but I don't run it all the time because, again, I am kind of early retired, so I do it once or twice a quarter. But they can find more information about it on my website, LakishaSimmons.com.
LakishaSimmons.com.
Yeah.
So I have one more question, and we're going to jump to you, Isaac.
Sure.
For people who say, I don't have enough money to invest, I'm thinking you're going to say, well, slash some of those bills, right? Because you got the money. But what is your response to people who say, hey, look, I'm trying to make it on what I got. How am I going to invest the 3% or the 5%? In my 401k or whatever? That's
a quick rebuttal. So if I say invest more, I don't have the money to invest. So you have to change your mindset and say, I do have the money to invest. Let me move some things around in my budget. So it's changing your mindset to make a decision to do what you want to do to get where you want to go. If you want to work until you're 65, then you can continue to say, I don't have the money. But if you want to retire before 65, then you can say, well, let me see what options I have to, number one, reduce the expenses I currently have, and number two, create more income for myself. Because every single one of us has a God-given talent that we can use to create income, period.
Yeah.
So if that's, I'm not going to spend time going into that, but every single one of us has a God-given talent that we can share with others, especially if it's something that will help other people. As Isaac's going to tell us, it'd be a good segue into his book, how you can help other people and create income. Like my book, The Wealthy Achiever, I teach women, or The Unlikely Achiever, I teach women conflict resolution skills, how to negotiate, which is the number one thing that we need to learn how to do, how to negotiate job offers and contracts and things, body language skills. I teach all of that. So this is helping women, but it also gives me income that I then use to invest.
Yeah. No, that's good. I'm glad you said that, because it's not just about slashing the bills. We can increase our income as well. And we have the power to do both. Thank you so much. So y'all check her out, LakishaSimmons.com.
Thank you.
For sure. And Isaac, man, let's talk about, so you're a professor at TSU. And you just recently got your PhD. Was that
last year?
Last year,
summer.
okay, 2021.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I look up and I had a conversation with you about this, but you left.
I left.
You decided to leave. But before that, you were already doing your thing. So tell us about you as an entrepreneur, your initiative with conscious conversations and all that good stuff.
So, I grew up with entrepreneurial parents. So my parents had a daycare, they had an airport shuttle, they had a check cashing business, they had a cleaning business. Just like
where at?
I grew up in Pine Bluff, Arkansas.
Okay.
And so I worked in all of those businesses as a kid.
Wow.
I never knew what entrepreneurship was.
Yeah.
I was just to help. But what I realized is from a very early age, I've always liked business. I just didn't know it. The first business that I consulted with, because I started doing pro bono consulting. Well, actually, let me take a step back. I started my first nonprofit in 2009 called Save the Villages. And it was about raising money to buy books for kids in Ghana.
Okay.
And I did that until I got divorced, and I dissolved it when I got divorced.
Because your parents are from
My parents
Ghana,
are from Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah, my parents are from Ghana. I was born in the U.S. But the first business I consulted was in 2010. It was Courtney Hill, and it was Knowledge Bank.
Okay.
And ever since then, people with businesses would come to me and ask me for advice. Never marketed myself as a consultant, but just would always help people make sense of business from a strategy perspective. It's just a gift. And so that's my foray into entrepreneurship. I started studying business in 2010 when I started my PhD program. And in 2017, I started my first consulting business, Addae company, because I was doing a lot of coaching, leadership strategy with folks, state of Tennessee and things like that. And it just evolved from there into a lot of impact work. So conscious conversation, that was something that I launched and ran for 2+ years and had a lot of impact. Still doing consulting up until today. I don't talk about it a lot, but I do. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to make this leap of faith inspired by my wife's transition to join the team at Pivot full time. But I have been consulting with Pivot since 2020.
So tell us what you're doing specifically at Pivot and what Pivot is all about. For those of us
So
who don't
Pivot
know.
Technology School is a workforce development academy, also known as a coding academy for folk, coding boot camps. And we basically train people of color that look like us to get their first jobs in tech, no matter what background they have. My role is Chief Strategy Officer. I basically help us from a strategy perspective and a business development perspective to grow the company and build relationships. So I'm doing the thing that I've been doing since 2010 for Pivot, which is just sitting around, thinking through strategy and finding relationships to help make whatever happen. And that's essentially what I do.
What you've been doing.
It's what I've been doing. Yeah, and I taught business strategy for 7 years at TSU. So I taught it and I practice it. So I look back and I think about the journey and it's like, I don't know how I got here, but really I just been doing the same thing over and over and over, just in different flavors or different iterations.
But how hard was the decision to leave the professorship?
Yeah, sure. You know, initially it was hard. And I'll say it was hard because my parents are professors and in our family's culture, like you get a lot of respect as a faculty member. It's like being a politician or something. And so I think I had placed a lot of weight on it. Keisha and I would talk about it all the time. But I started to really see through what I was doing and I was realizing how I was living my life. And we came together and have grown tremendously in our perspective about how we want to live our life. And I realized making 6 figures as a college professor was cool, but there was more. And Keisha really inspired me a lot to think about what more looked like and how to move forward in that regard. And so once I started thinking about leaving, well, really, I'll take a step back. God spoke to me and said, I have something next for you to do. And I was like, yeah, not yet. I'm good. I'm going to chill here for a little while. But that kept growing and it kept growing. And then eventually that voice got loud enough where I was telling Keisha, like, I think this might be my last semester. You remember me telling you that?
I do.
And she was like, he ain't going nowhere. No, I'm just kidding. She didn't say that. But I don't know what you thought, but I felt it in my spirit. And I just basically was like, I'm going to tell him in August. And she was like, no, wait, don't say nothing. You need to wait. She was like, do not.
Right to work the next day.
No. I didn't put in my notice until the end of October. But I wanted to do it day one of the fall semester last fall. And Keisha was like, nah, just wait because you might change your mind. But I was convicted because I wasn't sure what was next. But I knew that there was more for me to do and that God was calling me to level up. And it required me to show him that I was willing to take a bold step. And so I left the semester I was supposed to submit my tenure packet.
Wow.
So I was a semester away from having a permanent faculty position, but it wasn't about that for me ever. It was always about fulfilling whatever purpose I was here to create, to fulfill.
And you had tenure at Belmont.
Yeah, she had tenure.
So I mean, that's both of y'all made some super bold moves. For sure. Now, Isaac, you wrote a book here. Black Boy Fly, and the brand I see is getting a lot of traction.
A lot of traction.
You're getting a lot of support for this book. Tell us about the book.
Sure. Black Boy Fly was basically me putting my spin on how to empower people that look like me. So I was writing the book thinking about all the male students I taught at Tennessee State and the ones I couldn't reach and the ones that were struggling, our own boys, and what I could offer them. If I passed away, they could pick something up and keep going. And it has turned into something that I would have never expected because it's a book that has resonated with more than just black boys or black men. Like white folks love the book and pink people love it and red and green folks are reading it and everybody likes the book and they like the story, but I think they love it because it's a real conversation about real struggle and how you overcome. And that's really what the book is. Growing up, I struggled with what it meant to be Ghanaian and Black. I didn't really have a clear sense of identity. I didn't fit in anywhere that I went. I was around Black folks and they was like, you ain't Black. I was around Ghanaians and like, you're not Ghanaian. Well, what am I? And so I wrestled with that through my adult life, and I talk about it in the book. I wrestle with my purpose, and I talk about that in the book too. So that's what Black Boy Fly is. The whole brand is growing, and it's becoming something that a lot of brothers are connecting to. And I think it's because a lot of brothers don't have anybody speaking to them about the things that they're struggling with. I know in my peer group, we go through things, but we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Or you might tell a homeboy, like, man, I'm struggling. I might need to hold like $20, but you don't even want to say it.
Yeah.
And this is like, man, okay, well, let's talk about what's going on.
Yeah.
I think Black men don't feel as though they have that space or they're not comfortable. And so I've been trying to use this brand to push people that look like me to be open with what they're going through, talk about how you overcame it so you can help somebody else.
I love that because there's power in sharing that when we're struggling, man. I remember my brother was going through something personal, a divorce, and he talks so much now about how when he had close friends, he was able to talk that through and share, and it actually gave him power versus just suffering in silence by himself, because that's kind of what the devil wants you to do. He wants you to seclude yourself and not pull on people to be resourceful through that adversity. So how can people get in touch with you, Isaac?
Yeah, IsaacAddae.com.
Isaac, is it Addae?
Addae. IsaacAddae.com.
Yeah. IsaacAddae.com, and that should be on the screen so that you guys can check out both of these two powerful individuals, LakishaSimmons.com, IsaacAddae.com. So let's talk real quick, guys, about how you all are using technology to promote your brands, because you guys are getting a lot of success, of traction in the communities from your prospective target customers. What are you doing that you think is really attracting clientele or blowing your brand up technology-wise?
So let me just say this really quick. We both understand technology in ways most people don't, because our first career opportunity was in tech. So before we were professors, we both worked in tech and had tech jobs, right? So this was early 2000s. We're seeing technology evolve, and now we're leveraging tech to create awareness for our brands and our business, the web and social media. But to be honest with you, we got a love-hate relationship with social media.
Oh, really?
Love-hate. Yes. Yeah.
Hey, why is that?
Go ahead. She can explain it better than me.
I would prefer to never have to post ever on social media, but it is an awareness tool, right? It is a tool in the toolbox. But I'm just a private person. That's why you never see my children.
Okay.
So just things like that. I'm just a private person in that way. But I also want to use my voice, and it is one way to use my voice. So
yeah, it's hard, right? Because if in 2022, if you're involved in business and you are not present on the digital platforms, are you really in business? Right. It's a hard thing to thrive in that world without using those platforms. But those platforms are businesses, and they're using those platforms to generate tons of revenue at our expense. Yeah. And so we both wrestle with how these platforms have evolved and how people have become different people because of these platforms. And so that's what makes it hard to fully buy into. But what I will say, for me specifically, with what I do day to day, the most powerful tool for me is LinkedIn. Okay. And then after that, it's email. Yeah. I use LinkedIn a lot. I'm in DMs a lot. Yeah. Posting a lot. DM. Yeah. All day. That's how I build most of my relationships. If I go somewhere and I can see a person's business tag, name tag, I don't meet them, I'm just going to look them up on LinkedIn and shoot a shot. Gotcha. Hey, I was in the same room with you at this conference. We didn't get to meet. And it works. People love it. Yeah. And so I love it for that reason. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, they've helped me sell the book and they've created awareness around what I'm doing. But I haven't really found the best way to use those platforms for this brand. And I'm still figuring that out. But, and we both have podcasts, right? And so we're using tech in that way too to project our voice and share messages. But, tech is hard because it consumes you, and it's a part of everything. When our kids were at home during the pandemic, we looked at how much they were using tech. 8 to 5 in school,
time,
they were on the screen, and then as soon as they got done, all right, go outside. Man, they go outside 10 minutes, they right back in the house on the screen, and it's like, wow, we love tech, but
Yeah, I like to use it. I'm more of an offline person. So as you mentioned, TV, publications, that's really where I prefer to be.
Okay.
On TV.
In the media. Okay.
Yeah, in the media.
You know what I'm
where
saying?
offline.
Nobody's calling me to be on. You know what I'm saying? She's like,
you have to manifest what it is. If you
for
want to
sure.
be on the media,
Come on
if
now.
you want to be on the media, I
There
said,
you go.
I want to be on the Tamron Hall show. This is January. In March, I was on the Tamron Hall show.
Do you have a PR firm, a consultant, or are you about to tell me God is your PR firm?
God has been my PR firm.
That's what I'm talking
Now,
about.
I just hired a firm.
Okay.
So we'll see how that works. But everything you've seen
has been manifested.
So
you've been on the Tamron Hall show, and what other news outlet were you? I know you're on Fox News, right?
CNBC, MSN, Yahoo Finance, Go Banking Rates.
It's so many. We can't remember all of them.
There are many, and of course, Good Morning America, people, all that. But I say that to say that you got to pick your platform, pick your tech.
Yep.
And for me, the media is the best because that drives traffic to my website. And when people arrive in my website, I have tons of information that's valuable to them because it's all about what's in it for me. And so if someone's listening to what I'm saying and they think, that's interesting, and they visit my website, they're going to get more of that. So they can download a free budget, right? They can read my blog, which has how to retire early, how to cut costs, all these different tools that they're able to download. And when they download that, they get added to my mailing list.
Right.
So then the first thing that they'll get is access to my YouTube. And in my YouTube, I have almost 100 videos talking about money and personal finance and mindset. So they can just binge watch, and I go live on YouTube, right? At least once or twice a month. And people can visit and watch me there. And that's been my love side of tech.
Yeah, no, I get it.
That's the love side.
But what you're doing is you're adding a massive value first, right? And then you're building your database, and then ultimately, a certain amount of those people are going to become paying clients or customers.
Because they may want more. For those who aren't ready and they don't have the finances, because I would never want anyone to purchase anything of mine who is in massive debt, who is living paycheck to paycheck, unable, right, to pay their rent or really struggling. I would never want them to pay. There's plenty of free things that you can do to get started to gain some momentum first. But then those who are ready to say, okay, I want to work with Dr. Keisha, I want her wisdom, I want her experience, then we can work together. And by that time, they've already been nurtured, they know me, they can trust me.
You got credibility.
I have credibility. And then at that point, they're already, like you said, in my database. And so we can make that decision to move forward together. And then my last piece of tech that I love is the ability to text message my database. So when they sign up, and I owe you some money. I'll pay your fees.
Cash at me, you know what I'm saying?
I'll pay your fees, but you told me, you said on your sign up, because I'll say, hey, we have a call, and what's your fee? Let me send you your money. I'll pay you in a minute because it's worth it. And I always say, pay for education. Pay for education. Don't think because something costs that it's not valuable or you shouldn't pay for it. So I pay you. Right?
No, you do. And I don't even charge you a lot.
Right. I bet you don't.
I'm like, that's Keisha.
You need to charge me the full fee because it's worth it. So you told me, you said, when someone signs up for your mailing list, you need to have an option for them to put in their phone number. You can make it optional if you want to, but put it there. And that was the single best piece of advice because now I can text people. I can text 5,000 people for $25.
That's crazy.
And I can
it's not
go
crazy.
right to
it's
their
real.
phone, and they can unsubscribe if they want, but many of them don't.
Yeah, and people always check their text messages. They may not check their email.
And it doesn't go into spam when you text it.
And I think that's what's valuable about tech is finding the way that you can make it work for you, right?
Yeah.
I see most people use technology and they're using it the way that they see everybody else use it, and they're not thinking about how to use it for them. I've leveraged social media to gain a lot of PR that most people don't even realize is possible without using a PR person specifically, right? I've used email newsletters to sell a ton of books pre-sale, but it was because I had been building a mailing list through all the Conscious Convo events. When I was using Eventbrite to get folks to register, all those events were free. If you remember, but I was like, it's free, but you gotta sign up. And you really could come without signing up. But I had programmed people. Let me hit that Eventbrite link, man. I built up
register
3,000 emails. So then I'm just emailing them stuff for free about a newsletter. Then I'm like, oh, I'm working on the book pre-sale, running it up, man. And so I said, okay, I probably wouldn't have gotten that kind of traction on Instagram. I don't have that type of brand, but email works well for me. So I use email a lot. And on all my platforms now, you go to the website, there's going to be a pop-up, collecting email addresses, just like Keisha said. But I'm also still actively networking and building relationships. And that's what I do intentionally on LinkedIn specifically. You see somebody that published an article on something that your business is doing, go to LinkedIn. I pay for LinkedIn Premium, $65 a month. It's an investment. And I find that person and I say, hey, I just read the story you wrote about X, Y, and Z. I do X, Y, and Z. Oh, for real? Let's have a conversation. Next thing you know, bam, you in Forbes. Wow. That's how it works, right?
That's crazy.
And so it's just one of those things like we both took your sales course and you were talking about prospecting and reaching out. And we do that a lot and it works. We both have gained a lot of earned media, a lot of relationships, business contracts, opportunities, just from connecting with folks. And using
that
tech.
is so key, y'all. I hope if you're listening to this, I hope you're letting the nuggets and the gems drop on fertile ground, because for me, I teach a lot of this stuff, but it's also good to hear it again and again and reinforcement, because when you add value first, when you build that database and you're intentional about it. And I can even remember, when I started doing TGIF videos, and people were like, man, why are you doing that? You're giving away free information. I'm like, bruh, I'm building a brand. And then when I came out with my book, I had a ton of people. I had an audience, to pre-sell and sell the book. So, I mean, this isn't anything new. We didn't create this strategy, but it's just about implementation and execution. So what's next for you guys? What's around the corner? Anything coming up? Are y'all doing something together? Y'all going...
I
saw, by the way, before you say, I saw.
What'd you see?
What is it?
I don't know why I'm laughing. I saw a flyer, I think that y'all put together, saying, book us as a speaker. I said, man, they about to go on the road, bro. They about to go on the road tour.
He made that.
I made it.
I was like, but I already saw. I was like, man, we did this speaker series last week with Mignon.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I was thinking, okay, who we gonna get next quarter? I thought about y'all. I said, man, I gotta get them before they blow up.
Reach out.
I was like,
we already blew up.
I'm talking about levels.
I always tell people that.
No question.
Because when I was, just quick note, when I was interviewing PR firms, they said, oh, well, you're not an A-list celebrity. I said, excuse me, I am an A-list celebrity. It's like, in my mind, I'm there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a millionaire. I really am a millionaire, but I had to tell myself that before I was a millionaire. So to everybody out there, be bold and claim you are worthy to be wealthy.
But tell us this right quick,
yes.
Lakisha. How do you manifest something? Because that's really what you're talking about.
Yes.
Manifestation.
Yep, sure.
What is the alternative? The alternative is where you are, right? That's like worst case scenario is where you are. Do you want to stay there or not? That's your option. If you don't, then you have to claim something else because you've already claimed where you are.
Yep.
And if that's not working for you, why would you keep claiming it?
Sure.
Claim something. Claim Claim it. What do you have to lose by saying, I'm worthy to be a millionaire? I'm worthy to have a different position or to run my own company. I'm worthy of that. If you don't believe it, how's God going to give it to you?
Oh, my.
Man, so look, what she's saying is, what Keisha's saying
And this is
powerful.
It's
It's about belief, right? What she's saying is it's do you believe? When you can't even see it,
Right.
do you believe? Because if you can believe and you don't even see it, then it's like, okay, now what's next? Well, I trust that it's going to happen. That, it's a faith thing.
Right.
Where does your faith allow you to go? When we think about our lives, we've accomplished some significant things and we're still working on some things we want to accomplish, but it started with believing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when I was going through, and I'll just keep it real, when I was going through my divorce, my self-confidence took a hit, right? And so I started doubting myself and my belief, and it was manifesting. Nothing was happening.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then when I started to restore my self-confidence through her support, through prayer, through my friends and family and people pouring into me, reading books, whatever, as I started to restore that self-confidence, my power and my belief in self started to increase. I started to be able to manifest those things. And when I talk to people, it's really often there. They don't believe.
Yeah.
And so what? It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen,
Man,
until you believe.
Key. That's so key. And when y'all talked about the sales boot camp that I do, one of the first things that I talk about, and when I speak, is about belief systems. I call it BS, but it's your belief system. And in reality, I tell people you are where you are right now because of your belief.
For sure.
Like everything you got right now to this point is because of your belief system.
Yep.
So changing that belief is so powerful. And then sometimes it's a process, and it's, we have to do some work internally.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, it doesn't happen overnight, but that is key. But what is around the corner though?
We don't know.
Okay.
We honestly don't know. We're
nothing that you want to tell.
For you.
Oh no! All right. So look, I'll keep it real. So we're both faith driven, right? And we pray and we ask God for things, and we're both asking Him to reveal to us where all this is going.
Honestly,
because the truth is, we're tired.
Yeah.
No, I'm just keeping it real. This
You
the
tired
homie.
what you tired?
We're like, we have worked a lot.
Thinking.
We're in our 40s.
Yeah,
We've
tired of
worked
thinking.
hard,
Yeah.
right? And so we are trying to position ourselves in a way where we can still have impact and influence without having to work as hard as we have worked in our 20s and 30s. And we're praying about God showing us that path.
Yeah.
That's
You get what I'm saying? And that's just the truth.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm manifesting is, good health, children, sound mind,
Sure.
Strong relationship. That's what I'm manifesting. And then personally, it's, a $20,000 speaker's fee for a 30-minute keynote.
Absolutely.
So that me and Keisha can spend our time together and with our kids. And when I work, I can do a little work, still generate the revenue that I need, some major deals for Pivot. You know what I mean? Those kind of things. But beyond that is just, really asking God to show us where we're going, because we've done a lot.
Yeah.
We have a lot of talent, but we can also get in our own way with I want. And it's like, well, what do you want us to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And same for me. Everything that you've seen is God. It's seriously, I mean, that's just the way it's been working out, because I'll say, Lord, I want to have impact. I want to show more women what's possible. And then I go check my email. I can go check my email right now, and maybe Fox News in there, maybe CNBC in there. Somebody's going to be in my inbox, and it's like, okay, Lord, I hear you. I see you. This is what you want me to do. I'm going to do this. But then I also say, okay, I need time, because this is why I became financially independent, because I want to enjoy. And so he makes that happen too. Then it'll be something like, here's opportunity for you to go to Mexico for a week. Go. And it's like, well, I don't even have the children that week. Okay. Or Isaac said, I got them. Don't worry.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I don't know the how. I know what I want. I don't know the how. I don't know the method. But I know that God is going to fulfill that part. I just have to do my part and show up when He says show up. And He's going to make it happen. Like right now, I'm launching for my next cohort of the Wealthy Achiever women and men. And I just say, okay, I'm going to do my part, do a free webinar. Here's the opportunity. And then I step back. And then God, you got to put them in there. You do the rest, and then I'll walk away. You know,
let go and let go.
And that's
Let
a
go
very
and let
different space because we're two people that are very driven, right?
Yeah.
And when you're driven, you tend to want to have control of everything.
Yes.
And I think I spent a lot of my 20s and 30s trying to show God that I'm in control.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right,
Yeah.
cool. I'm going to let you go down this little path.
Yeah.
I'm going to smack you in the head.
Yeah.
No, you're not in control. And so now at 40, it's like, I'm not in control.
Mm-hmm.
But I can
Yeah.
manifest things, but I want to manifest the right things.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where prayer and faith and
it's
seeking
better
that
for your
vision.
mental health when you do it this way,
Mhm.
Yep.
which is what we've learned
Yep.
in the past. I'm not going to sit here and Instagram live to death. Sign up for my course and do this and do that. I'm not going to. Okay, I got to be on here. I got to. All these different things. I'm not doing that. I'm going to have my live class. I'm going to give you some value. I'm going to teach you. I'm going to introduce you to the program. I'm going to send you an email.
And you're going to be
I'm
in
gonna send you a
Mexico like
text.
this.
Right.
Right.
And,
Eating
and I'm going to be
crickets.
relaxed. Right, eating crickets, which I was doing a couple weeks
wow.
ago.
That's a
And then I'm
delicacy.
just going to be relaxing. You saw my Mexico video?
I sure did.
I'm
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's it. So,
I think that's the
Yeah.
beauty of where we are. And that's probably,
Yeah.
we've shared a lot.
Yeah.
But one thing I'll tell people listening, you're looking at two people that are not perfect, right? But that are God-fearing, faith-driven, and want to get whatever is in out.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's who we are. We're impact focused.
Yeah,
Everything
we
we've
are.
done is
Everything
impact.
has been to
it
help
hadn't
others.
really been about the
Every
money.
single thing.
And maybe had it been about the money, well, I don't know.
Well, that's what Oprah said. Oprah
Oprah
said
said.
she's a billionaire because nothing she's ever done has ever been about money.
Yeah.
It's always
Yeah.
been about helping people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who we
And
are
that's
at the
what
core.
we just try to do.
But what I see a lot of people
That's what we
doing,
try to do.
Bill, what I see a lot of people doing is doing the thing that they think is going to make it happen
Yeah.
based on what they see everybody else doing.
Yeah.
And I just want to caution folks to find a way to do what you're trying to do in a way that makes sense for you.
Yeah.
So she's a social media, a finance influencer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the finance influencers are on social media and they got 100,000 followers and they do a lot of all of that kind of stuff. And she's like, I'm going to get it a different way.
Yeah.
I put out a book and most people do a book the cookie cutter approach. And I'm not going to do my book like that. I'm going to do it my way and make it work in a way that works for me. And I think that type of authenticity drives a lot of our success because we're not chasing trends. You know, we watched everybody on Instagram and TikTok. And I was like, I'm not pointing. I'm not doing it because that's what they wanted you to do. They wanted you to drop them pointing videos. I'm not doing that at all. I just won't sell any books. It's fine. I'll just have to do it a different way because I don't want to just follow trends for the sake of following trends when I feel like it might even be in alignment with who I am and what's for me.
Right.
You're always keeping
keep up with that. But when I know myself and I know who I'm speaking to and I know what their needs are, then that's what I have to go with. And for me, I'm a teacher. And so YouTube that's my biggest platform because when I go live or when I have a class, they're showing up. There's thousands of people watching because they want to get this knowledge. You know? So
no, I mean that's key. You know, being and you can sustain being authentic.
For sure.
You know,
For
like
sure.
you said, you don't have to keep up
Right.
and try to be somebody else. And so that's key. Well, listen, guys, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the conversation. Always a pleasure talking to the authentic power couple. You know what I'm saying? And so social media, you got. Now I know you've been on LinkedIn, so just Isaac.
I'm Isaac Addae, PhD on all platforms: YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, all platforms.
And then what about you, Lakisha? You want people to connect with you just on YouTube, or what's your YouTube channel?
Yeah, Lakisha L. Simmons. So if you just Google Lakisha L. Simmons.
You know what I'm saying?
You're gonna find
Just Google this stuff, you know? And who knows? And so the Tamara Hall video, by the way, when was that? That was like
March
a month ago.
8th, International Women's Day.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And is that up on YouTube now?
It is,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. So y'all check that out. And make sure you guys connect with these two individuals, IsaacAddae.com and LakishaSimmons.com to find out more about them and just, engage, get involved, and support them as well. Make sure, if you are not already following this channel on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel and connect with us on the TechDontSleep platforms, Instagram, LinkedIn. Where else are we? Facebook. Hey, TikTok. You know what I'm saying? We all over the place.
TikToking.
TikToking, having fun. and connecting with folks. And obviously, our goal is always to bring you guests who are going to be a value add, help you as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, and show you how to grow your business with tactics and to practical takeaways in addition to leveraging technology. So appreciate you guys for tuning in, and stay tuned too for our next events coming up, because you may see these guys at our speaker series event coming up in Q2 or Q3, and we're gonna have a lot of fun with that. So thank you to our sponsors as well. We got Comcast Business, Wow Cable, AirCall, and Spectrum Business. All right, so we're loading up on sponsors for Q2, but a big shout out as well to our Q1 sponsor, NEC, for jumping in there for Q1 in 2022. All right, y'all, we'll see y'all next time. Alla, thanks again, guys.
Won't stop till I can't stop till I won't stop till I can't stop